we have we have the attendees rolling in. I think we'll wait for a couple of minutes before we get started. Until then, I think we could all just keep staring at each other's faces. Should we get started, Fiona? It's 9:30.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good.
So, hey guys, welcome to today's session. We're going to talk about a ton of exciting stuff, and this is first of the series of webinars we are planning for the coming months. So stay tuned for that. Today we are going to be talking about the current state of e-commerce and why a customer loyalty program is the number one strategy you need to do to scale your business. And Fiona also will be giving you a lot of tips when you launch your own program, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So that's the agenda. I would like to introduce to you guys to Fiona. She is our speaker today. She heads marketing at Loyalty Line. If you haven't heard about Loyalty Line, it's a tool that helps you create customizable loyalty programs. She has extensive experience in the retail and e-commerce space for the last 5 years. Over to you, Fiona.
Fantastic, thank you. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. As you just said, I'm Fiona Stevens, Head of Marketing at Loyalty Line. We are a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform, and we work with thousands of e-commerce merchants around the world, helping them to deliver customizable on-brand loyalty programs. To kick off, let's talk about e-commerce in 2021. As you already know, you've been there. It's been a very interesting year. We're here today to talk through what's changed, where we are today, and actually how that impacts customer loyalty. And then we'll look at how to actually create and execute a loyalty program that helps you make the most of the opportunities on offer in 2021. But first and foremost, let's have a quick look back. What are the challenges that we're facing right now? I won't labor the pandemic point. We've all lived through it. Unfortunately, indeed, we're still living through it. But the fact of the matter is that COVID caused a really big shift online. When physical retail was forced to close, TechCrunch reported that actually the pandemic pushed the e-commerce industry ahead of where it would have been by about 5 years in just a matter of months. It's incredible growth, but it leaves stores with multiple challenges to solve, a huge number of orders to fulfill, huge optimizations to make to websites as quickly as possible, and actually huge competition as well. Simultaneously, we saw a really big shift in the way that consumers are making their purchasing decisions. So for the past few years, we've been watching this change occur. Consumers are increasingly looking to shop with brands that they connect with on an emotional level. They want to shop with retailers that care about the same things or support the same causes. And this has only increased more over the past 12 months as consumers had more time both to research the things that they care about and to choose the brands that they want to shop with more carefully. However, while they're being more discerning about the stores that they choose to purchase from, consumers have also become more demanding regarding the service and the support that they receive. Things like shipping delays, slow returns, and difficulty reaching customer service staff were all real challenges over the past year, but customer expectations remained really high. And the brands that I think have come out on top in the past 12 months are actually the ones that kept in touch and communicated really clearly with their customers. Despite all of this, though, there has been no drop in expectations. If anything, they've increased, and that's thanks to things like Amazon Prime. Not every brand can compete on logistics, though, and things like free shipping, which is why emotional connections are becoming more important than ever. And finally, the gift that keeps on giving, the iOS update. So we're already seeing the impact of iOS 14, which gave consumers using an iPhone the ability to opt out of targeted ads and data sharing with just one click. iOS 15 is now hot on its heels, which will make it harder to see what emails are being opened. We're relatively early on in a period of quite extreme change for marketers, where we have to navigate a situation where consumers are taking back control of their data and opting out of sharing first-party information. But in turn, this is contributing to already increasing acquisition costs. The cost of ads has already jumped simply by virtue of there being more and more brands online vying for attention and advertising space. But with the introduction of these privacy updates, not only does it become harder to reach shoppers, but it gets harder to track and attribute the success of your ad strategy as well on the traditional channels that you may have relied on to date. Painting a little bit of a bleak picture, but don't worry, there's lots of opportunity to work around it. So we've talked about how e-commerce has changed and how customer loyalty has changed too. But let's look at the key drivers of loyalty and actually why loyalty is such a hot topic today. Bain & Co tells us that it costs 5 times less to retain an existing customer than it does to acquire a new one. This makes a lot of sense. Customers who have shopped with you already know you, and they've built up an element of trust with you. If you think back over the past 12 months, just how many new customers have you acquired or have purchased from you for the first time that you could be converting again and bringing back for a second purchase? These are the people to focus your attention on. They're already warm and they've developed a degree of trust with that first purchase. And believe me, it's well worth focusing on getting that second purchase. As you can see here, the lifetime value of a customer significantly increases with every purchase that you make. After a first purchase, there's just a 22% chance of a customer coming back to buy again. But that jumps to 43% after the second purchase. It then jumps to 52% after the third purchase, and so on and so forth. So the longer you can retain a customer, and the easier each purchase will be to secure, and the higher their lifetime value continues to go. This life cycle and journey can look quite different for every single consumer, but we find that generally customers follow a really similar journey when it comes to loyalty across their life cycle. Obviously, they begin as an unknown entity that you've brought in via probably one of your acquisition channels. It could be Facebook or Instagram ads, it could be influencer marketing, perhaps even PR. And they enter the journey as a prospect that you need to educate and inform about your brand. Once they're comfortable with your brand and they've been inspired by your products, they'll obviously make that first purchase and become a one-time customer. After that, one of two things can happen. Either they return to make that second purchase within the time frame that you would expect, or they don't, at which point they become at risk. That time frame can obviously differ a lot depending on what you're selling. For example, it may be 7 days for soap or coffee. It might be 7 months for clothes or jewelry, and it could be 7 years for something like a mattress. But there are many ways to win back those at-risk customers and turn them into repeat customers. Re-engagement campaigns are usually very successful there. Unfortunately, however, there will always be some that turn into lapsed customers. But even those customers are not necessarily lost. They've heard of you before, they've shopped with you before, and there's every chance you can still win them back just by getting them into your loyalty program, getting them some points, and getting them to come back and make that next purchase. They're essentially still warmer than a completely cold customer. Conversely, however, if they did become a repeat customer straight away, fantastic. And brands who have the right kind of products can consider turning them into a subscriber so that their next purchase is guaranteed each month. This won't work for every brand, of course, it depends on what you're selling, but if you do have a highly repeatable kind of product, then it's a fantastic step. But regardless of whether they become a subscriber or just reach loyal customer status, this is where customers can really start to show their loyalty and their value, purchasing more often, spending more with each purchase, and fully engaging with your brand and your loyalty program until they go on to act as an advocate. These are the most loyal customers of all. Advocates are the consumers who will help you the most. They'll tell others about your store and about your products and about your brand. They'll share the great experiences they've had with you. They'll spread the word far and wide via reviews or referrals. So this is the holy grail that we should all be working towards and trying to convert our customers into. But what is it that actually drives customers to be loyal throughout this customer journey? And how can you build those elements into a loyalty program so that you drive greater conversion at every stage of that customer journey? So the first key driver of customer loyalty is the feeling that you're accumulating something and working towards a really aspirational goal. Our research showed us that 74% are motivated by the feeling of working towards a goal or a reward, and 79% say their loyalty is motivated by the feeling that they're accumulating points they can use to their advantage at a later date. How do you create those feelings of accumulation and aspiration? Bit of a tongue twister there. Well, firstly, give your customers more earning opportunities. Don't just give it points for prizes and points for purchases. Reward other positive behaviors like account creation, newsletter signups, social media likes, shares, or follows. The more chances that you can give a customer to earn points, the sooner they'll earn a reward and the sooner they'll come back to make a second purchase using that reward. Secondly, don't make them wait too long to benefit from your loyalty program. So ensure that you've got something like this, 15% off site-wide when you become a VIP, an initial benefit that somebody gets from signing up to your program to ensure that they see straight away the value of being involved and they want to get more and more involved as they continue to build a relationship with your brand. And perhaps most importantly for aspiration and accumulation, loyalty tiers. So typically we see brands creating between 2 and 4 tiers, which introduce more and more benefits as you move up through them. For example, the perks in the first tier might be quite basic, just a free gift, for example. But as you progress the tiers, you start to access more and more benefits, things like priority shipping or access to more valuable free gifts. And this just makes sure that customers are always working towards the next tier, that next goal, unlocking more and more benefit with every interaction that they have with your brand. The second key driver of customer loyalty is a feeling of exclusivity. It's just changed. So feeling of exclusivity, 73% of consumers are motivated to join a program that offers exclusive rewards that non-members can't access. Shoppers want to feel like they're being treated like VIPs, they're getting VIP treatment, and they're getting something that other shoppers can't get. And you can use a loyalty program to give them exactly that. So firstly, you can create a VIP tier that includes experiential rewards that non-VIPs can't access. By experiential, I mean things like early access to sales, perhaps queue jump if you have a physical store, the ability to join a product tester panel, for example. These are all things that make your most loyal customers feel that they're part of something really exclusive and really exciting. But actually, for the most part, they're really quite cheap and cost effective to implement. You could also look at doing something like Miraness here on screen do, where they actually charge people $10 a month for their gold most experiential tier. Secondly, ensuring that your loyalty program members get access to member-only promotions that non-members don't see. For example, double points days where they can build up their points balance further in order to collect a reward sooner, or secret sales, as you can see here on screen, where they only have a limited amount of time to get an exclusive access to something that non-members can't get. Our next loyalty driver will come as no surprise, it's a buzzword in every corner of e-commerce, but personalization. So 78% of consumers say their loyalty is motivated if they feel recognized as an individual. And 65% say that their loyalty is driven by personalized offers, 61% by personalized product recommendations. So how can you use your loyalty program to deliver these personalized experiences? First and foremost, unique loyalty emails. So whether you send these straight from your loyalty provider, whether you push loyalty attributes into your ESP, loyalty emails are incredibly powerful. In some cases, they actually perform up to 14 times better than a regular marketing email. Use things like points balance statements or reward available reminders to send really personalized, unique email messages to every member of your program. And also just to keep in touch in between purchases when it's not just all about transactions. This really demonstrates that you recognize that shopper as more than just a number in your database. This is also really relevant on site. With things like an integrated loyalty program page, you can deliver a really personalized on-site experience where shoppers who are logged in can see their points balance on a page when they land in it. Also, a lot of our stores put this as a permanent fixture in their top navigation as well. So anytime you're on the site, you can see that you've got points available to exchange for rewards. And finally, use your loyalty program to deliver really personalized special offers on products or collections that you know a customer has shown an interest in before. For example, you could give early access to new products that you know a subsection of loyalty program members will be interested in because you've purchased them previously. Or you could run a double or triple points promotion on products that you know they're likely to need to replenish along the way, things that you run out of regularly, or need to replace regularly, like razor blades or toothbrushes, that kind of thing. These really personalized experiences go a long way to ensuring that customers continue to return and repeat purchase rather than looking at competitors. Our fourth driver of customer loyalty is trust. 76% of customers will be loyal to a brand if they trust that a friend that they recommended would also get a good experience. So how do you go about building that trust? First of all, you could look at integrating your reviews provider with your loyalty program so that you can incentivize customers to leave reviews with loyalty points. You could offer them 25 points in return for a review. You could actually change that and do 25 points for a text review. And if you're using a provider like Okendo or Looks, you could say, okay, 25 for a text review and 50 points for an image. Then you're getting all that kind of great UGC that gives customers incredible trust signals, helping them make more confident purchasing decisions. You could also be incentivizing referrals with your loyalty program. Again, giving your customers another way of earning points, but also giving yourself a more cost-effective acquisition channel at the same time, bringing in customers who are far more likely to convert because they already trust you on a friend's recommendation. So encourage your customers to leave referrals in return for points. Or you could use review to referrer emails to remind happy customers who've left you a positive review in the past that they could also be earning points by referring and taking their advocacy one step further. And for our fifth and final driver of customer loyalty, let's talk about brand affinity. As I mentioned earlier, this is becoming increasingly important for shoppers. They want to connect with brands who care about the same things. And our research showed that 68% of consumers are motivated to be loyal by the knowledge that a brand shares the same values as them. 62% are motivated by rewards that align with social causes that they care about. You can use your loyalty program to really clearly communicate to customers exactly what it is you stand for as a brand. For example, Anne-Marie Skincare used their welcome email to talk about exactly what they have in common. So if your products are sustainably sourced, for example, share that news. If your products are vegan and that's what your customers care about, make sure you're including that in your comms. You can also do this on your loyalty program page with things like explainer videos or FAQs that talk through exactly how you're contributing to the cause that they care about. And this nicely contributes to any SEO around your USPs at the same time. Secondly, you can align your loyalty program rewards with the causes that you represent. And then your customers can see that you're really serious about aligning with them. For example, you could offer points in return for recycling empty products or packaging, or offer the opportunity to redeem points in return for charitable donations rather than discounts. Shoppers relish the opportunity today to earn points by doing something good and contributing to something that they align with. This is a really great way to show that you care about the same things. And finally, another great way to do this is to focus on building a community of like-minded people, where shoppers can connect with others who are interested in the same things, ask their advice, share their questions, get tips on how to use products, all that kind of thing. A community is hugely powerful, not just in terms of creating emotional connections, but also in terms of the revenue it can generate. Your loyal community members are the ones who will advocate the most. They will post and share content about your products. They'll talk to new customers and convert them for you, and much more. So creating a community for your loyalty program members and watching your acquisition and retention strategies come together is really important. So now we know what drives customers to be loyal, what will get them engaging and participating with your loyalty program. But how do you know if things are working? We're just going to briefly touch on how to measure success. So firstly, take a look at the actual inner workings of your loyalty program. Are a good proportion of your customers taking the time to sign up and create an account? Have a good number of those existing customers come back to create an account if they didn't in the first place? Signups is a really key metric in establishing whether your program is actually having an impact or not. And secondly, it's earning and redemption. Are your members undertaking the actions that will earn them points and building up a balance that they can then redeem in future? And if they've built up a points balance and they have a reward, are they actually redeeming it? It's another great gauge of how aware customers are of your program and the ins and outs and how it works, but also how engaged they are with it. It's also a very clear red flag of where you might need to do some additional communication to get more success out of your program. And thirdly, referrals and reviews. Are your loyalty program members acting as those advocates as per the customer loyalty lifecycle that we talked through earlier? Do they need to be encouraged and incentivized more? Next, there are a few really direct leading indicators that will help you to track the success of your program. So repeat purchase rates, average order values, customer lifetime values. They're all hard metrics that you can look at to see whether your loyalty program is delivering results or not. Really strongly recommend comparing these metrics for members and non-members so that you can see the gap widening and understand what's working. Your non-members really are the best benchmark that you have here. But don't forget to look at indirect leading indicators as well. So the more customers you get involved in your loyalty program, the more you should see your brand recognition grow. If you look closely at your social media following and see if it's increasing, look at whether using loyalty emails and loyalty data in your emails is positively impacting click rates in your email strategy. Look at how often your brand is being mentioned and get what your share of voice actually looks like compared to your competitors online. There are lots of great tools out there that you can use to track that kind of brand mention and brand reputation. But again, it's important to take some baseline metrics so that you can benchmark and watch your program grow. So that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the key drivers of loyalty and how to build and track a retention strategy. But what happens once you've launched your loyalty program? We've just got a few top tips to help you get started. First of all, before you hit the go live button, it's really important to do a little bit of planning. Go back to your business goals and think through the challenges that your business is currently facing. Then look at how your loyalty program can tie into those goals and challenges. Super important to ensure that it doesn't just become a siloed activity, but actually it's a key part of your marketing function. Think about your wider retention strategy. It shouldn't just be about points and prizes. It should be about creating as many opportunities as possible to build long-term relationships with your customer base and communicate your brand more effectively. So think beyond the points and rewards you want to offer and consider a strategy that helps you build relationships over time and really tell your brand story more effectively. Thirdly, think hard about how your loyalty program could also support other acquisition activities. If you're doing SEO, if you've got reviews, if you're focused on social media, there are so many places where you can insert your loyalty program and see a really positive impact on other channels that you've already got up and running. And getting this alignment going really early will help you to power your existing marketing, but also make it far easier to prove the success and the value of your loyalty program over time. And finally, set clear KPIs. We've already talked about just a few of the ones you could track, but tracking these from the outset is really key. The next thing is to make sure that your customers know about your loyalty program, and you'd be surprised how many people forget about this part. There are so many different ways to promote your program to both your new and your existing customers. It could be on-site with pop-ups and banners. It could be off-site, social media posts, emails, that kind of thing. You can even run promotions like double points for people who create an account within a certain time frame. Essentially, your loyalty program will only be successful if your customers know about it. And they also need to see that there's really obvious value from them participating. Thirdly, make sure that you're considering how your loyalty program can power the other marketing that you're doing. So we touched on this briefly, but can the content that you're creating for newsletters and blogs actually be used to drive SEO as well? Can the loyalty points be used to get more out of your reviews platform? Could your customer support team actually be using loyalty points to sweeten sour situations? If you look at it holistically, you'll probably find that there's lots and lots of different places you can insert your program, not just in the marketing department, but across all of your teams as well. And that's a surefire way to make sure that you've got buy-in across the company and loyalty becomes an integral part of your company instead of a silo. And finally, don't just set it and forget it. A loyalty program needs to be really regularly revisited if it's going to drive real results. You've set your KPIs and you're making sure that you're reporting on them. But how are those redemption figures changing? What are you doing to how are you adjusting your points and reward strategies? Are you doing any A/B testing? All the kinds of tactics you would usually do in a marketing activity, you should also be applying to loyalty. So regular tests, regular reporting, and making sure that you've got those baselines and you can see how you're improving on them. That's it from me. Hopefully there were some useful tidbits in there. I'm really happy to discuss tactics with anyone who'd like to. You can find me on LinkedIn or via loyaltyland.com. And now I will hand over for some questions. Oh, it looks like my slide hasn't changed over. There we go.
That was amazing, Fiona. You know, when you talked about the feeling of accumulation, when you spoke about the loyalty points, I was like, you know, it's, now I know why I find myself going back to Starbucks. It's those damn points. So yeah, let's get started with the questions. Ready to take some fire?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll shoot the first fact. So how many customers do you think I realistically need to get started with a loyalty program? Because like we have a lot of customers that are young and coming, they're just starting out. So I think I'm asking it for them.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. In theory, it's never too early. As long as you've got one customer who's made a purchase with you, you've got one customer who could repeat purchase. You've got one customer who could leave a review or make a referral or act as an advocate in many ways. So it's never too early at all to start a loyalty program. What I would say is you will see the value of it snowball as you get more customers. So if in terms of knowing, I think it's less about when to start it and knowing when to switch the investment so that you're investing really heavily in it, but get it going from the very beginning so that any customer that comes through the door, you're going to get back a second time, because as we saw, that's when they become more valuable.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have some questions, you know, filling our chats up in the meantime. So I'm just gonna read them out and you know, like, so Shrikant asks, when you say community, do you mean a Facebook group?
Very good question. Facebook group is probably the most accessible way to do it. So, I mean, in an ideal world, we would all be Sephora and the big US beauty brand. They have their own community that's built into their site. It's, you know, they've got the resource to do that themselves and to build and manage it like a forum. Obviously, we don't all have those resources, so you need to find a platform that works for you with what you do have. We see a lot of people doing it very well on Facebook. There's also clever things you can do, like only giving your VIP members access to that community or having separate ones for different tiers of customers. And to be honest, if you're just getting started, Facebook does an awful lot of the things that you need it to for a community.
So we have one more question. How long does it take for a loyalty to, you know, to get a loyalty program up and running?
Oh, great question. I mean, to set it up, no time at all. You could plug in a loyalty program and have it up and running within a couple of hours. But I would advocate putting the time into the strategy beforehand. So, you know, what brand story do you want to tell? How do you want to go about building relationships with your customers? How can it support your other marketing activity? All those things are questions you need to answer first. So I would say you need some solid time as a team to get your strategy right beforehand. Then, as I said, the actual building, no time at all. And then in terms of, you'd need to give yourself, I would say, at least a month to give existing customers a chance to become aware of the program, sign up, start to see the value of rewards. And then in the same way that if you launched a new SEO strategy, you would have to give it 6 to 12 months to see if it worked. In the same way that if you launched a new digital ad strategy, you'd need it to be up and running for a good period of time before you said whether it was a good channel or not. Unfortunately, it's the same with loyalty. You have to keep it running for a good period of time to really see the value changing between your program members and your non-members.
Awesome. So we have another question from Carly. She thanks you for this presentation. So she asks, with earning double loyalty points from placing an order on a subscription product, can the same customer use these loyalty points on a subscription product? That is the first time for their subscription charge.
So if I'm understanding the question right, then yes, absolutely. So loyalty points that a customer earns from undertaking any activity, whether that's making a purchase or signing up to a newsletter, making an account, etc. Yes, with some of our integrations like Recharge, for example, they could then apply those loyalty points to their subscription and get a discount on a future order, yes.
Great. So we have another question from Nefertari. I'm sorry if I got her name wrong. What is the best way to work out how many points to give a customer per purchase?
Oh, that is a very good question. To be honest, our customer success team would be the best people to ask about that. And we also have some documentation in our help docs, because it's unique to each customer. It depends a little bit on, I mean, as you saw in the presentation, there are some people that give 25 points for a review. We have other customers who give 200 points for a review. It's less about how many points and more about what you want the value of that point to be. And that can be a little bit of trial and error, getting it right so that customers are able to build up enough value quickly that they see the value of your program. But absolutely check in on, I believe we have a blog post and some help docs to help you solve that one.
Another one from Tammy here. What if you already have a loyalty program? Can it be easily changed and and can the points be kept?
I assume you mean if you've got a loyalty program that is operating with somebody other than LoyaltyLine. Yes, absolutely. You can migrate very easily and points can be carried over, etc. Your customers wouldn't need to see much change. What I would say is you can always update your loyalty program. We've seen some of the biggest retailers in the world, I mean, a bit UK centric, but some of our biggest supermarkets like Sainsbury's and Tesco's regularly make changes to their loyalty program. It's about how you communicate those changes to your customers. So you need to take them on a journey, tell them why you're making the changes, tell them why the changes are going to be better for them and how they'll benefit from them. And as long as you communicate really clearly, then yeah, you can change your program.
Another one from Jason. What are some more creative ideas you've heard of to have reward points for?
Creative ideas to reward points. What did you say?
What are some creative ideas you have heard of to reward points for?
Oh, good question. And I think it depends on your brand, what your brand story is, what you're selling as well. And some of the nicest ones that we've seen recently, they're all around a brand values and what you stand for as a brand. So for example, we had Pacifica Beauty that I shared earlier, and theirs was all around points in exchange for recycling products and product packaging. We have a dog food brand who their rewards are called belly rubs, and instead of claiming a discount reward, you can make a charitable donation to a dog shelter that they support. And we've also seen when the pandemic hit, we saw people move things like styling sessions online. So what they would have done in store, they then did with personal shoppers online. And again, you could get rewards for attending a session like that. Free shipping. It depends a little bit what your customers will care about, to be completely honest. But with custom rules and custom rewards, there's not much that you can't do. So I think it's a great question because people forget to think creatively about that part of the program, and it's a really effective way of looking at it.
Absolutely. So remember the double spending on the loyalty program question from Carly. She has a follow-up question. She asked if they can use the loyalty discount twice, like once in the Shopify checkout and again for a recharge subscription in the recharge checkout.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to point you towards our on-site chat for that one. That's a little bit too technical for me. But if you reach out on the chat on loyaltyland.com, somebody will be able to help with that.
Keep an eye on the chat, Scully. Like we are going to answer that there. So, Carrie has another question. Do the points accumulate with store purchases as well as with brick and mortar through Shopify? I think what she means to ask both online store and POS as well.
Sorry, could you repeat that one?
Do the points accumulate with store purchases as well as with brick and mortar through Shopify?
Can do, yes. Yes, so you can integrate and we would actively encourage anybody using Shopify POS to integrate their in-store and their online loyalty. Ideally, you want it so that any customer who is shopping online can walk into a store and be recognized as a loyalty program member, use their loyalty program rewards and accumulate points, and vice versa. If they've got some points from shopping in store, you want them to be able to use those points online. So absolutely, yes, integrating with your POS is very much recommended.
So we have an anonymous attendee here who asks, how does LoyaltyLine work on the mobile app with Vajro?
With Vajro, I'll leave that one to you. You're the expert there.
It works exactly the same as on your web store. It's exactly the same. So whenever someone makes a purchase on your mobile app, if they are connected, if they have an account created with you, it's gonna add to their account on, if it's the same account, it's gonna get added. Doesn't matter if it's the POS or the online store or the Shopify or the mobile app. So another question here, how do you measure the success of loyalty line? It is really difficult to see metrics on the dashboard. We don't. How do you see the success of on loyalty line? I'm kind of guessing. How do you measure ROI on a tool like a loyalty line?
Yeah, obviously it's a challenging one, because obviously you don't always know whether somebody would have come back and made a purchase regardless of your loyalty program. I'm a bit confused to see that you say you don't have the option to track new signups. You absolutely should have that. So if I were you, I would reach out to our success team on, again, you can use the chatbot in the platform or on our website, and I would get somebody to help you with getting a good look through the dashboard, because you should be able to see plenty of metrics in there. And as I said earlier, it's often the best kind of way to look at your ROI is to look at non-program members and see how much value or what their average order values are, and then compare that to your loyalty program members and see that gap widen over time. But I would absolutely reach out to and I can see that you're asking about tiers as well. Again, you should be able to see that. So I would reach out to somebody and ask for a bit of help there.
So, guys, more questions. I think we're all caught up, I guess. I'm gonna scroll over the chat and see if I have missed something. We have one from Vanessa here. Can you give us some tips to increase website visitors?
Site visitors, yeah, I think we all look at loyalty as a retention tool, and we all forget that actually it can be an acquisition tool as well. So if you are incentivizing your customers to follow you on social media, to like and share your content on social media with points, you're then getting in front of all of their followers as well. And the chances are that they'll bring new people in for you. Referrals is also another really important way to get new visitors. And those are, as I said before, the visitors that are more likely to convert. So I think looking at the marketing you're already doing and seeing how you can incentivize customers to bring new customers to you is a really powerful thing. And I also think we underestimate the power of how much loyalty can drive SEO and things like that. So if you're sending out a newsletter to your most loyal customers, put that content on your blog as well, nice new relevant content for Google. If you're incentivizing reviews, make sure that some of those things are Google reviews. So that, again, the SEO value is there. And if you have a loyalty program page, put some FAQs on there with your keywords in, so that you're driving SEO from your loyalty program page as well. I think there's so many ways actually that you can increase visitors using your loyalty program, but we tend to think about retention first instead of thinking about how you could hit your retention and acquisition goals together.
Awesome. So we have one more question. We can't afford a dedicated loyalty resource. So who should own it?
Well, that's a great question. And we see everybody owning it, from sort of e-commerce to just the digital marketer who's also worried about ads and SEO, to the founder of the business because there's nobody else to do it. And it really varies. And I think it really does depend on the resources that you have available. If you don't have a dedicated loyalty resource, then you need a champion. You need somebody, and it doesn't really matter which department they're in, but you need somebody who's logging in, checking it, seeing how it's going, reporting back. And that person is then responsible for bringing everybody else in the business on the journey. So making sure that the customer support team know that there is a loyalty program they should be pushing people towards, that the in-store staff know that there's a loyalty program they should be pushing people towards. I don't think it matters necessarily who it is, but taking ownership of it and communicating it needs to be just one person's responsibility.
I think we are all out of questions. We're all caught up. Yay.
That was a good amount of questions.
Yep, a lot. Honestly, I wasn't really prepared for these many questions, to be honest.
Oh, well, thank you everybody for submitting them.
Yep.
It's great to
So,
see the participation.
do you want to wait for a couple of minutes? And see if people have more questions. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. If not, we'll just close it out. All right, last call. All right. So I think we're all done. They're all done. So thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you so much, guys. Loyalty points for you for staying until the end.
Absolutely. That's glorious, definitely.
So we'll be sending you a recorded version of this for you to rewatch. So, just in case you want to go over all of that again, that is a lot of information. We covered a lot of ground today. So if you want to watch that at your leisure, we'll be sending you a recorded version of YouTube or Vimeo links. So keep tabs on your inboxes. All right. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.
Thank you very much.